What is going on, guys? This is Miasin. So with the newer set Terminal Revenge right around the corner, I felt like it would be a great time right now to revisit the best decks of the upcoming format, which, by the way, just to make things perfectly clear, would be after Terminal Revenge, but before Infinite Forbidden. So I will be revisiting this in a few weeks maybe, in order to kind of start getting ready for the NEWCQ and Euros and everything. Because yes, a lot of things are about to change, and yeah, both sets are honestly absolutely huge. We're getting a lot of new decks and a lot of splashable engines, and I'm also going to be making videos on all those engines and all those decks, so yeah, stay tuned so you don't miss them out. But anyways, before we go any further, first of all, obviously smash the like and subscribe button, but most importantly, quick little word from today's sponsors, HelloFresh. So for those of you who weren't aware already, HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, and their mission is to deliver fresh, quality produce from the farm directly to your door in less than a week so you can savor delicious flavors. With HelloFresh, you don't have to worry about grocery shopping, so you can spend more time doing the things you love, like eating and playtesting for your next big event. HelloFresh Market has everything for your mealtime needs, with quick breakfast, lunch, snacks, desserts, and much more. With 50 plus recipes to choose from and even more items that support your lifestyle, whether you're on a calorie or protein smart diet, HelloFresh got you covered with both healthy and delicious options. I really recommend checking out their mouth-watering cheese stuffed burgers with pesto aioli or grilled salmon with balsamic tomatoes. Best part is they only take 20 minutes or less to cook up, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Plus, when you sign up for HelloFresh, you get free appetizers for life while your subscription is active. So what are you waiting for? Get started with HelloFresh today and make restaurant quality meals at home. Huge massive shoutouts to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video, and don't forget to check them out at the link in the description box below and use my coupon code to receive 10 free meals and free appetizers. Alrighty, absolutely beautiful. Anyways, let's get right into it. So the first deck would be Tearlaments. Yeah, this deck, unfortunately, it has to be in the max diff category. By the way, what I mean by that is if you're playing this, every single tournament or every single match you play is probably going to be on max diff. Like, you're still playing a good deck, but man, you're just making it hard on yourself for no good reason. ABC is not in a good position before we get the new support, but it is still a deck that I want to have in the here just because it's a good investment for the future, because the new support is insane. And even though it's not even like ABC support, it's like X, Y, and Z, but those cards still work really well for ABC because we also have like the controller fusion monster and everything. It just unlocks a lot of brand new combos, which are absolutely correct. Alrighty, Labyrinth is actually an extremely good deck. This is one of the best contenders that you can play in this format that isn't a fire deck or something. The Shark deck is in the exact same boat as ABC. It's a good investment. The deck is about to get extremely good support. Gen X is actually really bad though. Yeah, it is getting new support in Terminal Revenge, but it just isn't good. Pure Snake Eyes are all the variants, so Melodious, Kashtira. There might be something else. This is obviously before Fiendsmith Snake Eye. Very good deck. This is obviously the best deck for sure. And then Infernoid is a good contender, but unfortunately, because of the fact that you can't play hand traps, you can obviously potentially play board breakers like Triple Tactic Thrust into Void Feast if you have to go first, or going second, you can get a bunch of normal spell cards. This deck plays a lot of powerful spell cards, but just like Tearlaments, this deck does not have the ability to play hand traps, and because of that, you will be struggling a lot this format with a deck like Infernoid, even though when you're going first, you're always destroying everyone. So I still think this is an extremely good deck. It's just that you will struggle winning with it going second against the meta decks. For like locals or even regionals, this deck is just insane. Especially if people don't know how to interact with it. Flunderies, this is one of the few decks that can just main deck Shifter and a bunch of board breakers. Need Shifter or Featherstorm to win, so it's a good deck, but it gets hard carried by the non-Flunderies cards. Sword Soul is not really good right now, but Protoss is good. If you call Dark, how good is it? Well, to be fair, the Baron got banned, so it's not good enough. I mean, I would maybe put it here though, just because it doesn't suck. I don't think it's like fantastic. There's like no real appeal to playing Sword Soul other than Protoss, because again, the deck just lost its ability to beat Nibiru. Well, not really. That's not really true, because you can still make Chao Feng using Baxia, and that beats Nibiru. Voiceless Voice is a good deck, but it actually has a worse matchup against the field than it had before, because of the existence of a new deck that just wipes the floor with Voiceless Voice. So this deck is way less good, even though it's still really good. Sky Striker is definitely in the side events turbo. Salamangreat is very good, actually. I'd probably put it here. You can play obviously a bunch of hand traps, and there's nothing too bad to say about Salamangreat. It's just another fire deck, but it doesn't play the Snake Eye cards. So I guess if they get banned and like IP and Apo, Salamangreat doesn't care. So I think it's a really, really good long-term investment. But Raging Phoenix is so damn expensive for no good reason, man. We need a reprint on this card. I don't know if it got like a reprint yet, but Chimera, man, that deck is just boring. I mean, it's nice with the illusion cards. I will be updating the combo video and deck profile on that deck very soon. It is still what I want to consider a competitive deck. All right, Sanavalon Rika, unless you're Jessica Robinson, don't try to make this deck work. Runic Stun, okay, unfortunately I hate this deck, but it is extremely broken. It's really annoying though. It's not enjoyable to play against, and I don't understand how people can have fun playing with this deck. It's like, bro, just stop. Just stop whatever you're doing. Stop playing this game. Play another game while you're at it. Stop existing overall. Just, okay, Iceberry is one of the most interesting decks here because this deck can be split into two categories. There's the Runic Iceberry and the just regular pure Iceberry deck. I actually think the pure Iceberry deck is not really good, but the Runic build is much better because you have more layers of play and you just have more options to deal with things, and you draw a lot of cards, and the deck already draws a lot of cards because you have Coral Dragon and the Ravenous Croc, so you can draw 4 cards with the Iceberry engine and another 3 cards with the Runic engine. You can technically get to like 7 draws in one single turn. I actually managed to pull it off a few times, and because of the existence of Prima Donna and the fact that Runic Tip and Runic Slumber can proactively banish cards from your opponent's deck, you can summon the Windbearer statue on turn 1, which is really nasty. So this deck can just like almost FTK you out of nowhere. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Flunderies back in the days with the Windbearer statue. The Runic build has less hand traps while also having more ways to break boards, so it's a good deck, but I don't think it really consistently beats the fire decks. Unless you win your dice rolls or you're consistently going first, or you draw hand traps when you're going second, but that's about it. Centurion, this is always going to be one of the best decks to play, but at the same, well, I mean, if you don't want to play like anything else and you just want to stick to one deck because the fact that it just keeps dodging ban lists, so King Calamity is always something that you get to do for some freaking reason. And you can also play Shifter, but the deck just loses to like almost nothing. Like sometimes you lose to one Imperm or one Veil or one Ash, even though the deck is not supposed to lose to those cards necessarily, because you have a lot of redundancy that is good in a way, because you get stopped on like Trudea. Well, turns out you drew the field spell, so nobody cares. So yeah, it's a decent deck, but I don't really like it too much because it's really limited in the amount of plays that you have. Ritual Beast, I think, is one of the better ones. I actually think it's a little better than Labyrinth, maybe. The thing about Ritual Beast is that you can play Shifter and benefit off of Shifter, and nobody really knows how to stop this deck at the moment. So I think it's gonna get a little worse down the line because people are eventually gonna understand how to beat the deck. But if you're an extremely skilled Ritual Beast player, you can make it work. This deck is very difficult to play. This is the very first Shifter deck in existence that actually requires a brain. Flunderies and Kashtira, they're brainless, honestly. So yeah, Ritual Beast, the exception to the rule. Orchist, yeah, don't play this deck, even though I think it's a little better than Sword Soul if you deck build it correctly, but it's still really bad. Melodious, yeah, this deck can play like 15 hand traps. It is clearly one of the best decks. The issue is that you lose to D-Barrier all the time, and I think that's like one of the only big flaws that Melodious has. Yeah, you don't really lose to like one hand trap usually. Okay, Purely is also one of the really good decks, especially if your name is Din Kang Fam. Shoutouts to you. This deck is just so good. Every single time I think this deck is dead, I just get reminded that if you know how to play this deck correctly, you can make it work going first, second, whatever. This deck can draw 0 hand traps, 0 board breakers, and still break boards going second. Vanquish Soul is not a good deck. I will keep repeating this over and over. I don't understand how people can really think this deck is that insane. It's not a trash deck though. Don't put words in my mouth, but it is definitely not on the same level as honestly anything here. It really just isn't. This deck has like almost like a 2016 or something feel to it. You don't really do much. You normal summon a monster and then you make a link one, and then maybe you special summon another monster and then you draw. It's like a control deck that would be good in a slow format, but not when the best deck is a deck that just destroys you in 2 seconds. So I just don't think this is in a super good position. Despia, I obviously think this is one of the top 5 best decks. That makes sense. I wouldn't really know how to rank these ones though. If there's like really an order, maybe Despia is the number 1, and then Melodious maybe after that, and then Purely. All these 3 decks, they all share the same weakness to D-Barrier, which is interesting. Anyways, Kashtira, oh my god, okay, yeah, this list is getting big. Kashtira is very linear in the way it plays. Not a big fan. I actually do think it's still better than Centurion. actually, maybe not. Both decks can play Shifter, and both decks just feel like they can randomly lose to one card. This deck, at least, when it goes uninterrupted, it literally FTKs you. Whereas Kashtira, you can still break the board. So I do think that Centurion is just a little nastier overall. Okay, Yubel, I think, would be among the best decks to play this format. The reason why I say that is because in Terminal Revenge, we are getting Phantom of Yubel, and even though we are still missing the Fiendsmith engine, there are so many things that you can do with this deck. Either as a splashable engine or just the deck itself, you can play good stuff Yubel, like with Unchained cards and stuff like that. Not to mention that you can obviously play a lot of hand traps in it, and it doesn't really lose to like anything in particular. It doesn't lose to Shifter. It has an unlosable Flundereeze matchup, literally unlosable. Yeah, they're gonna summon all their monsters and attack, and you just go, okay, all of my Yubels attack over your Empen, you take the damage and you die, and they can't really deal with your board because Empen doesn't really stop you. All of your monsters are indestructible, so their only form of removal would be the continuous spell and the Ryza. That's about it. So yeah, Yubel is so good right now. I don't think the purely matchup for Yubel is good though. That's about all I can really think of. And I also don't think the Melodious matchup is good because they can bounce back all of your cards, so they don't have to destroy you necessarily. And yeah, you can obviously lose to Despia if you get hit by Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, which is complete bullshit. Raid Raptor, yeah, this is also another deck that's gonna give you a lot of issues. Oh, hold on a second. I think Infernoid is the best deck here. Raid Raptor is a deck that can play a lot of hand traps, which is nice, but it doesn't really thrive in a format where a lot of people are playing Ogre, Mourner, Veiler, and Imper. Those are the 12 hand traps that beat Raid Raptor, and some decks are playing all 12 of those hand traps. It's just that Raid Raptor doesn't lose too hard to like Ash, Nibiru, and Droll, but that's about it. The other hand traps, they do hurt. Even DD Crew and Bestials to a certain extent, if you know how to use them against the deck. Fire King a little worse than Yubel, I think, but still a very good deck. This is the deck that I've been playing forever. I don't think the deck is worth playing anymore though. Marincess is not bad. It plays a lot of hand traps, which is always a good thing. It plays with one card, but it's a little blend. It just does the exact same thing every single time almost. But it can, I mean, if Goes in Match was a 3, then maybe, because Goes in Match just wipes the floor with every deck here on almost. Rescue Ace, maybe a little better than these decks. The issue is that you gotta play a lot of bricks for Rescue Ace, but it's not bad. Maybe I should put Rescue Ace a little higher. Maybe it is better even than Centurion. I don't know, honestly. I'll keep it here because I think I'm satisfied with this placement, but if you disagree with anything that I'm saying, please let me know in the comment section. You're probably wrong, that's why you're the viewer and I'm the creator. Anyways, Unchained. Yubel is kind of like the better Unchained deck, so I think Yubel deserves to be like at the very top, but Unchained itself, maybe not until we get the Fiendsmith engine, but still very good, so keep an eye out on the Unchained. It's still a good investment, even though I don't think it's too expensive. Dinomorphia, nah, it's a trap deck that just isn't great going second. I actually think it's worse than those decks. Mourner is a good card against Dinomorphia. If you summon Rextrum on your opponent's turn, they can Mourner the Rextrum, and that still works. So they can even top deck the Mourner for turn. One of the very few situations where the Mourner is a good card against the trap deck. The Sprite deck is definitely tier 1. The new Ice Bear support boosted the deck. Above, below, Voice's Voice. Actually, above, honestly. I think it's better than Voice's Voice. It's really good, really consistent. Can play like 15 hand traps. Yeah, it can make Toad. It can make Omni Negates, which is nice. It has Carrot, which is an inherent spell in Trap Negate. And then obviously we got Toad. Double Cross is insane. You can search Testudo or Adnamen, you know, turbo it out because you are fucking foolish it and then revive back with the Double Cross. If Sprite Elf was unbanned, this deck would be tier 0. 100% guaranteed. Anyways, the final deck is Resonator, which I think is a good deck. It's just that Resonator does lose to Nibiru. There are combos that beat Nibiru in this deck though. It is true. It's just that those combos aren't that good. It's just that you're gonna have to make a worse board and then pray to God that you do get Nibiru so that you can recover from it. But if you don't get Nibiru, you've basically outplayed yourself. And also the restriction of Dark Dragon Synchro only is like the baitest thing on earth, but it has some really nice combos where you can even send Black Goat Laughs and then you can use this effect because the Red King Lotus or something, the new card from Terminal Revenge, is huge support for Resonator. That's the reason why this deck is in the tier list right now and it wasn't before. I don't really know where I would put it because it is still a good deck that can play like 12 something hand traps. Maybe below Infernoid. I don't think the deck is necessarily breaking boards going second. And if you know how to stop Resonator, oh my god, this deck is not good. If you know exactly what to stop against them. But if you are like the average EDO Pro player and you don't really care about the rogue decks and only care about the meta decks, this deck will demolish you. Anyways, that's it for this video. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know how you feel about this upcoming format in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.